Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2C TV. This is your global news channel. I'm 2C and we come to you guys with the latest news updates, this time coming from the western parts of Africa, specifically Mali, as the jihadists alongside the separatists, the Tuareg separatists, have now launched a massive war against the establishment in Mali. Multiple cities have so far collapsed. We're going to give you guys the latest update on this issue and of course get your reaction. We also do have our updated live interactive map on 2C TV, which we're going to obviously explain exactly what is going on, regardless of where you're watching from, whether you're watching from Europe or Africa or wherever. It's very important to actually be informed and stay up to date with all these developments, because the jihadi movement around the world is a global problem. And once the developing countries collapse, of course, the developed world seems to be collapsing sooner than the developing countries, but everybody else will be targeted. The problem with Mali also goes back to the French. I am going to blame the French government for a big mistake that they made, but let's talk about what's happening today. We have a lot of videos to show you guys, and of course your reaction as well. First, let's show you the live map that we have, not the live map, interactive map that we have. We've got two groups. So you've got the jihadis. Used to be Al-Qaeda. Now they're called Janim, basically. So it's a long name, but it's J-N-I-M. Let's call them Janim. They are the jihadis, the Islamists. Then you've got the FLA. They are the Tuareg separatists. Mostly in the north of Mali, when I show you the map. So mostly around up here. And FLA stands for the Azawad, as you can see on the screen in the middle. Azawad Liberation Front, and their job is they want the north, they want some sort of independence, but Mali has been under military rule for the past 5 years or so, after a number of coups that they've had. The French were located in Mali, of course, for a very long time. They were kicked out and the Russians took their place. The Russians Africa Corps essentially are in charge. They used to be the Wagner Group, if you guys remember the Wagner Group. And now today we have obviously Bamako, which is the capital in the south. You can see on the screen there. Multiple explosions started initially around the capital and also Kati over here. And then we also started seeing updates around Severe and also up here in Gao and Kidal. Then things escalated. So we got now, for the first time, the separatists, who are technically secular. They are secular, nationalists. They want the north. They are working with the jihadis. This is the fascinating part. So the Janim jihadis are working with the separatists. Both groups launched coordinated attacks in multiple cities and regions. Let's quickly go to some of the videos that we have for you guys, and then I'm going to explain what is happening. First, major clashes in Kidal towards the northeast of Mali. Watch this. Now, following this, we started getting some weird updates about the overall situation. As I said, currently in Mali, over the last few years, we've had a situation where the Mali's military junta and the Malian armed forces have been ruling the country, military rule basically, because of all the coups that they had since 2021. Now the Wagner Group, the Russian mercenaries that were basically turned into the Africa Corps, and the reason for that was because obviously, as you guys know, the Russians had some issues, internal problems with the Wagner Group. So they call it the Africa Corps, the branch that is now in Mali. They took control because the military, with the help of the Russians, kicked the French out. Now, when the French military were there, and this is a very rare compliment to the French, things were relatively stable. There have been a number of attempts by the Islamists to take over, but the French military were there to support the government to prevent that. The moment the French were kicked out, over the last few years, the Russians have not been very good, let's just say, at preventing the jihadis from rising up. Their job, literally, the Africa Corps, the Russian mercenaries, is to stop the jihadis. And they have failed because most of the resources are going towards Ukraine for the Russians. Now, Janim, the jihadi group, used to be Al-Qaeda. Since 2017, they rebranded. They've been basically pushing for a caliphate, not just in Mali, but the rest of Africa and then the rest of the world. They failed, obviously. The ISIS branch of the jihadis in the Middle East, in Syria and Iraq and all those places, they got kicked out. And but now you got different branches in Africa, West Africa, in Mali, kicking off. Now you got the Tuaregs, that's the second group, the FLA, they're the separatists. They are nationalist, secular separatists, but they are working with the jihadis right now to launch major attacks. They've been fighting since the 1960s, since Mali's independence. Let's quickly go to the next video that we now have from the country. Because the clashes have been escalating massively over the last few hours. We're going to go to Sévaré in the southern parts of Mali. A military base has now been captured by Jenim, the Islamists. Let's go. Not looking good. A lot of innocent people getting targeted. So you can see the religion of peace is actually the religion of pieces. That's a military base. One of the problems with this whole situation is that obviously Mali has a lot of Muslims, but they're also killing Muslims because a lot of them don't necessarily agree with the way that Jenim want to do a caliphate, because they know that it's probably better to have a centralized government, but not many people are happy with the military rule either. So it's a bit of a lose situation at this point. There is also a quick update coming from other cities, this time in the capital, Bamako, that has experienced a lot of clashes over the last few hours since the early hours of, well, late hours of this morning. Let's quickly go to the capital.
الله أكبر قاوة ندش قاوة كتيبة أصوات الله أكبر جيش الأصوات يجش قاوة الله أكبر انهايم قاوة
The biggest problem with this, and this is why I said, regardless of where you're watching this from, it's very important to pay attention to all these little events happening around the world, even if it's in West Africa, is because you can see over the last couple of years there is a resurgence from the global Islamic movement, the jihadi movement all around the world. If they could strengthen themselves in these parts and in the Middle East, North Africa, then they're going to come everywhere else. Everybody needs to be very cautious, especially those in Nigeria as well, but everywhere. It's a major problem. The Wagner Group, or as now we call them, the Africa Corps, was supposed to be protecting these territories. They are so incompetent at this point because they don't have the resources, everything's going to Ukraine, that at this point a lot of people in Mali would have probably wished that the French had stayed. It's so bad when you wish that the French military would stay to protect you, because when the French were there, everything was, well, not perfect. There was a lot of attempts of coups and everything else, but this didn't happen, not for a long time. I mean, since 2021, people thought that the military rule is going to be stabilizing things, but there's a vacuum of power, and it's going to spread around the continent, especially West Africa, and you've seen what they're doing in Nigeria as well. Somebody needs to put a stop to this. Now, of course, we are waiting for the White House and President Trump to react to this as well. A Malian helicopter belonging to the government was shot down by the FLA, the separatist groups in Gawa, which is in the eastern parts of the country. Let me just remind you, this is where we're talking about. Of course, down here, Bamako is the capital. And of course, right here to the east is Gao, we can see. What we've had mostly, so you got the red flashy ones, that's the explosions that initially we had. What I'm going to show you is the blue squares. They are the FLA, they are the separatist groups, primarily around the north. Some of them also around here, around in the center, around Savare. But we had the jihadis, or the Janim, primarily focusing in the south. I'm just going to zoom in quickly for you guys as well. Much easier. There we go. So in the capital, you can see the red flags are the jihadis. And also, of course, around Savare, up here, we've got the jihadis. And around Goa, we also have the jihadis coordinating with the separatists. It's been kicking off at the same time. So the government, primarily, the green swords that you can see, these are the official military. They've been trying to sort out the situation around Kati and also Bamako. They have failed to protect those cities. They're all collapsing, and Savare as well collapsing. And of course, all the other cities, Gao. Now, let me just quickly show you the moment the government helicopter was shot down by the separatists.
wo ka warga dia helicopter to helicopter to warga dia nga dullo to helicopter ni na karta ka woti baggu tondo jasso ga helicopter ma gorga ndi sami nyogir ga honne de baggu pomo bo nga kubi de ina karta.
We're getting an update.
Helicopter to warga di na karta ka woti baggu her ko to.
Quick updates from I believe this is from Savare. Yes, Janim have now taken control of one of the army camps. Let's quickly go back to the map. So around down here, this city, Savare, so we can actually probably get rid of the government element. The Balobo army camp is now under full control of Janim, the Islamist terrorists. So they are basically around this whole city at this point over the last few hours. We're also getting updates from Kati, which is near the capital, to the northwest of the capital, Bamako. Dozens of militants have entered. Well, when they entered the city, there was little resistance from the Russians and from the Malian government. Embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. The Russians have been losing territories left, right, and center. You saw what happened in Syria a year ago. Now this. I'm not really sure what the point of when the Russian imperial movement to obviously expand into North Africa, West Africa, Middle East. The whole point was to not necessarily just to rival the American empire, but there was supposed to be a stable alternative, right? That was supposed to be the point. They, in Africa, especially West Africa, they were there to basically replace the French, because the French and the former colonies always had problems in comparison to the Brits and the former British colonies. The French and the former colonies have massive, huge problems, even since the fall of the French Empire. Having said that, the Russians have been incredibly incompetent. Every single time there's a jihadi movement in one of these places, they easily withdraw. They just retreat. So what is the point of having you there at this point? The mercenaries are not that good at doing their jobs. We also have a quick update from Goa. It's a whole different place. Goa. The region in almost the east, center east of the country. That's the helicopter that was downed, actually, I think. Yeah, that's the video after the helicopter was downed. Watch this. There we go. We're also going to give you guys the latest updates shortly after this about what's going on in Iran, the conflict in the Middle East. The talks have now been cancelled by President Trump. Not that there were any talks arranged, but there were talks arranged between the Islamic Republic and the Americans in Pakistan. And Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff were supposed to be flying to Islamabad. That's also now been cancelled. Because the Iranian side obviously are not really cooperating. So we're going to talk about that as well after this later on. But the US Embassy have a quick statement, a warning to the people in Mali. This is from a few hours ago, a security alert, Bamako, Mali. On the morning of Saturday, the 25th of April, there have been reports of explosions and gunfire near Kati and the Modibo Keita International Airports in Bamako. US citizens should shelter in place and avoid travel to these destinations until further information becomes available. So whilst obviously a lot of ordinary people are now going to be stranded and there's going to be massive problems for a few tourists. I'm not really sure why you would go to Mali at this point, but probably CIA assets and many other Europeans as well who are there. You also have a problem because the ordinary civilians in these cities from Mali, they are also getting killed, even though the jihadis and the separatists said that we are primarily targeting government buildings and military bases. So all that was also, as usual, a lie. It has also been confirmed by the separatists, the FLA, that they have taken control of Kidal, the governorate building in Kidal, and several regional service headquarters. Just as a reminder, this is the place we are talking about, up here, right to the north. That's Kidal, right there, on top of the explosion. So the blue square that's moving around, that's the FLA, the separatists. They have now taken control of the governorate in this city. Let's quickly go to the video we have from that. It's back.
الله أكبر الله أكبر
They still say Allah Akbar.
الله أكبر الله أكبر.
A lot of these guys are supposed to be secular, for the record, but they're not.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر كسر أمه أرزت أمه
It'll be very, very interesting to see if we're going to get any condemnation from by the Pope in Vatican. I'm not going to hold my breath. Okay, there was an ambush as well in Kati, near the capital, where the Jenim jihadis were attacked by the military from Mali. And I think the Jenim forces, the jihadis, have also announced that they have arrested the Minister of Defense, Sadio Kamara. So we're going to get confirmation on that, but let's quickly go to this video.
الله أكبر الله
Yeah,
أكبر كان مغروف هذا مغروف دي التجن فتوى تنتي نظم هنمت فاطرا إن كنت كده جامعنا.
That's what the government is. Yeah, they're saying the defense minister has been captured, but we will get confirmation from the government in Mali, thanks to our 2C agents. Also, the coalition of the Jenim jihadis and the FLA separatists, they have also entered the city of Burem. Let's quickly watch the video that I'm going to show you on the map where it is. Alan Snackbar. Alan Snackbar. Yeah, it's turned into a very amateurish version of Call of Duty at this point. So let me just quickly show you. So Burem is this place. So if I move this a little bit, on top of Gao, we got the city of Burem, which is now also under the control of both. There we go. The blue ones is the FLA separatists, and also the red flags are the jihadis, the Jenim jihadis. I'm just going to move this around so you can actually focus on that. There we go. So that's basically where it is located. It's basically in the eastern parts of the country. Okay. We also have, I think we can quickly go to the next video. That we're just getting some confirmation from northeastern parts of Mali in Kidal. Apparently a gas station has been captured. I don't know if they've destroyed it yet or not. This is again from a couple of hours ago. The video is slightly delayed. Let's watch.
ستاسيون انت راجع انت صرفات رسالة شديد اي والله جماعة سرقت على البوم باترك سرقت على البوم باترك الرس صرفت عشان انت صرفت ولا البوم اضريت انقد هلا اضريت الله اكبر.
They are claiming that they have captured the capital, but I don't think they've fully captured the capital, because obviously if that happens, then it's the end. But we do know that the Malian army are fighting back, but apparently the Malian army side are under huge pressure, overwhelming force by Jenim jihadis and also the separatists. Let's go to the capital and also Kidal.
الله أكبر.
It's a mess. Yeah, Kidal. Let's go to Kidal.
جميع المحطات ركالة ضرارة انتصر فترة ستاسيونا والرجل كيدال.
These are mostly the separatists, FLA. West Africa first, North Africa next, and then the Middle East and Europe. Although Europe might come before the Middle East. The Middle East operations failed so far. There are also clashes just around there in Gao. Massive clashes between the army and the FLA. That's absolutely insane. I think we have another video from the governor's palace in Kidal that has now been occupied, captured by the jihadis. They're inside. They're in the palace. Where is the resistance? Seriously, at this point, where is the military and where are the Russians? It's so embarrassing. Do they really need to call the Americans to come and help them? Because obviously the Russians won't do that because that'll be embarrassing. And also they don't want the Americans. Because if the Americans help Mali, then the Americans are going to build bases there. Obviously, the Russians don't want that. The alternative would have been to have the French to return to help. I'm not really sure if Emmanuel Macron actually cares enough to go and protect people in Mali after the withdrawal of the French forces about 4 years ago. I'm going to get some reaction shortly, but let's quickly go back to the capital. And actually, yes, this is from Kati to the capital, Bamako. Again, just as a reminder, this is the distance. It's very, very close. If we zoom in, there we go. So it's a bit of a mess here. I'm just going to move these things around. There we go. It's much easier. So yeah, you can see Kati and Bamako are right next to each other. So this is the route that they've used to enter the capital. Let's watch.
Boy, Rega, onuga bouton.
There's a fair few of them going in, but it's not really a big convoy. The army and the Russians should have been able to stop them, but I don't understand. They've also brought down the flag of Mali in the northern parts of the country. I think this is this is in Kidal, which is in the eastern parts of the country. Let's watch this. That's a military base in Kidal. Oh, stop saying that. It's so annoying. What's funny is that this group is supposed to be the FLA, the Tuareg separatists. As I said earlier, they are supposed to be nationalist and secular, but they're still going around saying Allah Akbar, because obviously they're still Muslim, but they're saying Allah, that's supposed to be a call for during the cry during jihad. It's insanity. We have, I think, one of the Mi-8 AMT-8, which is the helicopters from the Russian side, filming this. I think this is the next one. That's the Russians are trying to support the Malian armed forces. Not well. Watch this. That's the helicopter coming down. That's a Russian helicopter. Not good. The Russian helicopter not that successful. So, I mean, the recent failures of the Russians can be witnessed in Syria, Mali, Sudan, and a number of other places. And I'm not really sure exactly who's calling the shot right now. But it's also because it's not really centralized, because the Wagner Group and obviously the Africa Corps, they have their own leadership. They get funding from the Kremlin, but the orders don't directly come from Putin, because it's got other things to deal with. And this doesn't really help because, again, these sort of cultures, they are very collectivists, and they can only operate when there is a centralized leadership telling them what to do. Savare, let's quickly go to this. This is, by the way, a city of about 40,000 people who live there. I'm just going to show you on the map. It's not here. Let's go zoom out. Right here, which is basically in the, still technically the southeast of Mali. A city of 40,000 people. It's about 10 kilometers from Mopti, which is the largest city of 70,000 people. It's basically just to the north of it. And we have some clashes over there. I think the next video is from Savare.
You answer a quick.
Why is nobody hitting them?
You answer a quick.
Yeah, jihadi road trip to Mopti, well, from Mopti to Savare. There is also a weird situation right now because we have this. So in case you don't know, they have captured a number of buildings, and this is the governor of Kidal, was the governor of Kidal, El Hajj Gamuz, sorry. And this is his uniform that he was wearing, right? Well, the jihadis and also the Tuareg separatist forces, after they launched an attack on the capital and also in Kidal, which is in the north, they decided to have this kid wear this uniform. It's not your size. It's a bit big for you. The fact, this shows one thing, by the way. So these guys, whether you're talking about the original Marxist revolutionaries from Russia, and when they started to do the same thing in Asia and Eastern Europe, and also when it comes to the Islamist groups, one main thing that you always had to deal with was primarily the issue around that they are the underdogs, they are the victims, and the whole point of their existence is that they fight against power, and they are self-righteous, they fight against greed, right? Somehow we've seen the same thing every single time, from the French Revolution and the Russian Revolution to the Islamic paramilitary coup in 1979 and these sort of activities. They always end up loving a bit of power, loving a bit of luxury when they take over palaces, when they take over the nice cars, when they take these uniforms. They really care. It goes against everything that they stand for, because they tell you that, well, no, we are the underdogs. We are always the ordinary people. We are the plebs. We are the peasants, and we are fighting on behalf of the common people, right? The moment they get their hands on the palaces and everything else, they're like, yeah, I'm going to keep this one for myself. This is the problem, because at the end of the day, everything goes back to the politics of envy, which is now being on an accelerated level being pushed by the liberal left-wingers in North America and in Western Europe and in places like Australia and New Zealand. And they don't even know what they're doing. All those the left-wing liberals in California or Seattle, Washington or other places who are just saying, no, we are fighting on behalf of the ordinary people. Equality, equity, diversity, all the usual stuff, right? Because, we actually against the rich, and they're in fact themselves champagne socialists or limousine liberals, as I call them, because the people who are funding these left-wing groups or any of these groups who are supposed to be the underdogs, right, fighting against the man, against power, the funding comes from power, just a different type of power. And they all want power. They say they fight against greed, the capitalist greed. It's because they want it for themselves. Same thing happens every single time, from the French Revolution to the Russian Revolution to the situation in Iran. Every single time we had the same problem. Couple of reactions here. Hi to see you are pushing your Pakistani fans away. Oh, I've got Pakistani fans. That's lovely. Yesterday you claimed we are a fake country. I've been saying that for years. It's because it's an acronym. It's not really a real country. Yesterday you claimed we are a fake country, despite the facts that our ancestors set up the first human civilization. Come to Pakistan and see, coward. When you say come to Pakistan and see coward, that means I have to come to Pakistan and see a coward. What you should do, put a comma between the word see and the word coward, then that would mean come to Pakistan and see, coward. But are you claiming that Pakistan, that's only been going on for the past few decades, created the first human civilization? Depending on how you define the first human civilization, if you're going to go technical, of course, that goes to North Africa. If you're going to go with the first civilization or established civilization, of course, that's the Persian Empire. But the Indian side, actual what we now call India, as well as the Egyptians, had also the first established tribes with, of course, there are certain values that they had. Pakistan did not exist at the time, darling. It didn't even exist during the Industrial Revolution, let alone the first human civilization. But it's nothing against the ordinary people who, some of them have fled Pakistan because they know that Pakistan is not the best place to live. It's full of corruption, and especially those who are not Muslim, and they had to leave. And I know a lot of them in London, and they would agree with me, darling. So, yes, they're on my side. UK declaring war on Argentina, US for the Falklands. Yeah, they kind of declare war over Greenland. They send one soldier. It doesn't fill one with confidence. The rise of jihad, yeah, no. They just keep trying every 10 years or so. Tucker says conflict in Mali is because of Jews and Israel. So always the Jews. Jews. Okay, I've got. Hang on. Okay, it's fine. Cute how Tusi thinks his receding hairline is special. I don't have a receding hairline. It's Fatima from Pakistan. You think that's receding? It's been like this since I was born. It's too thick, my hair. That's the problem. Our country, Pakistan, isn't as fake as your hairline. Hairline can't be fake unless you actually do an implant, you weirdo. The problem with the Pakistani radicals is that they're not very good at being trolls. They're not really good at comebacks either. It's just, Fatima, try harder. You can do it. Yep, I believe in you. Try again, come back. Russian incompetence because Putin killed Prozhogin. Yes, that moment when the Wagner group fell apart and they told us everything's fine. Yeah, the guy crashed in a helicopter on his plane. And they say it's fine because the Wagner group itself is still stable. We just changed leader. Now, okay, well, who's in charge? Who's actually coordinating between the Kremlin and Africa? The whole thing is an S show. That's why they don't even call it the Wagner group in Mali. They call it the Africa Corps. It's slightly more slick and corporate. Yeah. The Russian Federation, who are not supposed to be doing corporate, they love to do a bit of corporate. There is one group in the north called the MNLA. There is also 3 other groups in the west, but they have not been involved with these fights. So this is primarily as part of the Tuareg separatists, because the Tuareg obviously is a big ethnic group. And in the north of Mali, there is one radical group that have, as part of the FLA, the Liberation Front of the North, they're the ones that have been collaborating with the Islamists, and both groups are going around saying Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Do you think France will man up and go help? No, Emmanuel Macron. It's interesting you say that, because obviously, as I said, when the French left were kicked out in 2021, 2022, things went south. That says a lot. That when France were there, things were better. That's Not the best, but it was better than this. But today, Emmanuel Macron made a speech saying about just the general world, geopolitics, and Europe. He actually said Europe's problem is that we don't man up, basically. He said we are weak. We need to make decisions. While he was making that speech, things are kicking off in Mali, and Emmanuel Macron is not saying a word about Mali. Ordinary civilians are getting targeted. He doesn't really care. Oh, Fatima is back, guys. Fatima, third attempt. Let's see. Fatima from Pakistan. Iranians are very odd. You just discovered that? We are crazy people. In no other part of the Muslim world is hijab or no hijab considered a big deal. But Iran is not the Muslim world, you absolute nutter. Less than 30% of Iran are practicing Muslim. You will find all combination as weirdos. No, the problem is, Fatima, you don't understand how the world works. So on this planet, you got countries with borders and flags. And inside those lands, you have things called government, and each government have laws, right? So in Iran, the government have hijab laws, right? They force people to wear hijab, as opposed to, for example, in the UAE, that is also it's an Arab country, it's a Muslim Arab country. You got Muslims ruling the UAE, you got Muslims ruling Iran, but they're different. The law of government in Iran, the regime, is to enforce hijab. That's why people in Iran who are overwhelmingly not Muslim, they are against the law in their country. They say, we don't want hijab. They're not going around saying, we Iranians from Iran, we are fighting against government policies in Pakistan or South Korea. They don't care. They are primarily focusing on the bad laws in their countries. Whereas a lot of Pakistanis who stay in Pakistan, what do they do? Well, they're fine. They don't fight against their corruption. Some of them obviously have done. And unfortunately, one of the problems that we had is they go to prison, including one of the few good ones in Pakistan, Imran Khan, who continues to be persecuted, and his whole family being persecuted because he tried his best to make Pakistan slightly better. Has the European Union issued a strongly worded letter yet? No, they don't even know what's going on. I don't think they know where Mali is. Why do they love to yell salad snack bar all the time? Don't they realize how low IQ that sounds to the rest of us? That they thrive to be low IQ. So that's a compliment you just gave them. How are all these groups being funded and supplied, and why have we failed to prevent or reduce their receipts? Can't we do that? It depends, and again, each of these groups, they are tribal groups, the Islamists. They are in various different countries, and some countries have the American influence, some countries have the Russian influence or the Chinese influence, and depending on whose influence is there, you can see the success of how much they were able to push the Islamists out. So the countries that has American influence, they've been successful. You can see the UAE, you can see Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain. These countries have managed to crush the radical Islamists. When you look at the situation in North Africa and parts of West Africa, it's a slightly more chaotic. I'm not saying that it's the job of the Americans to go and take over every single country. That's also chaotic. Americans have not been the best at foreign policy over the last century. But overall, compared to the Russian Empire and how they've been incredibly incompetent in Africa and in Syria, let's not forget about that, and the Chinese who were kicked out of Central Africa because they were embarrassing, it's relatively better. You got three main powers who try to police the world, and in comparison, overall, the Americans have been better. And the Americans have also caused more destruction, of course. So you can see the situation in Iraq, for example. That was just an incredibly bad policy as well. Russia has turned their backs on Iran. Oh yeah, they did that a while ago, very quietly. Oh, Fatima is back, guys. Fatima from Pakistan has our fourth attempt. Let's see what she says. Weirdo Iranians think you are either religious or atheists. No in between. There is no in between. You're either religious or you're not religious. The rest of the Muslim world is in so insecure to see. Have you seen Pakistan? Oh, yes, you have, because you are Pakistani, Fatima. Your whole country is based on insecurity. I don't think you can talk. Also, yeah, I mean, the debate between being religious and not being religious, there is no in between. You are either religious overall. You could be Hindu, you could be Sikh, you could be a Muslim, you could be Christian, whatever you are, right? Or a Scientologist. Or you could just be not religious. So between the two, being religious and not being religious, yeah, there is no in between. There's no like some sort of liberal Democrat version. We sit on the fence. Like, okay, so I'm going to do some fasting, but I don't believe in it, but I'm going to do half fasting this month. That's not how it works, Fatima. Try again. I'll give you one more chance. 5th attempt. You can do it, Fatima. Jesus approves your salad snack bar. I don't know what that is. And Maya, these nutcases appear to be stoned out of their mind. They're always high. Or just simply psychos. What's their problem? So a lot of these guys, so ISIS had the policy, like the Taliban, to ensure that their militants are always high before battle. A lot of them on opium, obviously, but yeah, they always tend to be a little bit high. Even Hamas, when they invaded Israel, they were all high. Absolutely crazy. Trump actually severing Islam's grip in Iran has made this evil expose itself globally. People blinded into supporting the Antichrist are being shown the truth. Choose wisely. Yes, don't choose Islam. Mali being attacked and taken over by extremist Islamic terrorist jihadists. Islamic global dominance on the march. Yes, there is a resurgence massively. I saw Iranian patriots near number 10 today, says PC. Pakistan was invented in the 1940s. Yeah, it's a British invention, guys. Come on. Yeah, we have a lot of good British inventions, and then you got Pakistan. To see, is it possible for my kid to send you their English schoolwork assignments and have you proofread them? It's because of all the commas. Who are their closest allies and will they help? Mali, at this point, well, the Europeans have been kicked out, the French, so Russia. And Russia is not really helping properly. They had one helicopter flying around the capital. And then the other one got shut down. So they might send more resources, but again, the Russians are focusing a lot on Ukraine, so they can't really fund the Africa Corps much. Oh, Fatima is back for the 5th time, I think. In Pakistan, we don't have compulsory hijab. Exactly, that's what I said. I don't think Fatima speaks English. It's an Iranian Islamic Republic law in Iran. That's why I explained governments, borders, flags. So the Iranians have a problem with the law in Iran. They don't go around saying, I have a problem with some random law in Pakistan or South Korea, right? That's why we were talking about hijab being a problem, compulsory, in Iran, not Pakistan or Japan or even Canada. So, not yet in Canada. I don't think Fatima is listening, or I don't know, maybe she's just low IQ. You are doing an amazing work. Much love from Little Rock, Arkansas, United States of America. I love how you gave the full address. In case we didn't know where Arkansas was, it's the United States of America. Mainstream media in the States don't cover their truth. Hashtag MAGA boss. Yes. I'm Maya Tusi and we are the Mossad. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my check, Mossad, if you're watching this. All right. Crazy stuff. And what is this? Margaret says, I was married to a gorgeous, interesting Muslim for about 2 seconds in my early years. Wow. You would have thought he would have lasted a little bit longer. At least, a minute. Maybe at least a song, right? 2 seconds. That's very premature. Talk about premature. 2 seconds. They all want Israel and Babylon gone. I despise women in my country with head coverings. Yeah, those who've experienced it know. Crazy stuff happening. Sharon says, poor Fatima. I had to put her down for her own good because she's going to go out in the public and embarrass herself. It's probably better to do it here anonymously and learn. Fatima could learn. But yeah, it's... I tried my best. Hopefully she will learn something. Anyway, let's take a break. We're going to come back and talk about the latest update from the Middle East this time. The conflict in Iran is getting very, very tense as talks are not happening between the US and the Islamic Republic. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.